Okay, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to our second roundtable of this year's AUC Business Forum. I know we have a different audience in each and every roundtable, with some who actually continue attending with us, so I'll be brief in my introductory remark. I would like to welcome so many from different walks of life in Egypt, but also so many friends and part of the AUC ecosystem, whether alumni or representative of institutions that work closely with AUC. Very briefly, the reason why we established this forum back in 2020, and it's usually every year in February, obviously the last 2 years we had to do it on Zoom, is the fact that we like to get the insights of people from industry, from civil society, from government, policy making, corporate partners, as I said, all walks of life, to always shape up our programs, sometimes introduce new programs. And I don't only mean by that the degree programs, but also research endeavors, services, but also part and parcel of our activities which are dedicated to community development. So this year's forum, the title is The Changing Role of Business Schools in a Globally Dynamic and Transformative Environment. You probably read or heard of this title, and with some variations many, many times over the last 2 years, but that's the reality of life. We're living in a very much disruptive, transformative, and accelerated mode of life that is changing our industry. So we started off this morning with sustainable finance, moving to this roundtable, which focuses on the resilience of family business mindset in a disruptive environment, tapping into topics that relates to strategy, governance, differences and similarities between different generations, where to take the business to the next level, with something that is always at the heart of our thinking, which is obviously family business is all about sort of growing and improving the capacities within the market and making revenues, but also social impact. This is something that is extremely important for our school, for our offerings. This is what we try to do to our community, which is, again, I repeat, we do not just serve the number of students that are part of the business school, but also we serve the community at large. So again, thank you very much for making the time to join us. We look forward to listening to your insights, and I'll turn it over to my colleagues chairing the session. Thank you.
Dean Kamel, good afternoon. It's our great pleasure to welcome everyone to our roundtable on the resilience of the family business mindset in a disruptive environment. This roundtable is one of several activities of a full-year emphasis on the discipline of family business by AUC School of Business, including a family business research day, an international students competition, adding to various webinars related to family business, all along our campaign of I Moved My Business Forward, powered by PwC. This campaign aims to share the working knowledge and best practices coming from family business themselves through Business Forward, the knowledge portal of the school, in collaboration with PwC. At AUC School of Business, we aim to provide a unique opportunity to interact and to connect with leading researchers, academics, practitioners to advance our knowledge and research regarding success models, best practices for family businesses, adding to explore their challenges and opportunities for development and growth. We used to collaborate with close academic partners since 2018 to create Family Business Consortium in the Arab region to ensure the continuous development and sustainability of family business in Arab region. In fact, family businesses are key pillars of economic growth and social development. However, the family business environment is a very complex ecosystem where the roles of the family management and ownership can be easily confused. Thank you. Different generations may share many core values, but may differ regarding how to be expressed or practiced. Given such importance and complexity, then a better understanding of generational differences, governance, and succession models is basically required to support the survival and growth of family business. From globalization to digital transformation, along with the determination for sustainable development, it's crucial for family businesses to continuously adapt to survive and to grow. The creation of successful family business is not easy for sure, and sustaining them in long term is even harder. And that's why we aim throughout our roundtable today to discuss key concerns and key questions. The related family business, unfortunately, as well, are still very limited. That's why it's an area worth shedding the light, and it's essential to explore various opportunities, challenges, and strategies for promoting sustainability and growth of family business. Throughout our roundtable today, we'll shed the light on key concerns and main questions regarding what challenges may family business face today and in the future, what are the key factors to successfully plan and execute a family business ownership transition from one generation to another, how to assist family business in improving their governance and initiating a family business constitution, how can family business impact society, and what are the social responsibility strategies for family businesses, and as well, how to build an adaptable and sustainable entrepreneurial family business culture. We are very delighted today to welcome our three keynote speakers, Mr. Helmi Abu Laish, Chairman SECAM Egypt, and Senator Mohammed Abu Ghali, Board Member Abu Ghali Motors Group Egypt, and Dr. Ohanes Kozobiokyan, Managing Partner, the Cargo Foods and Processing, and Lecturer of Family Business at the American University of Beirut, Lebanon. I would like to invite our keynote speakers to introduce themselves and to reflect their great insights with us regarding family business, and we'll start with Mr. Helmi Abu Laish.
Thank you very much for this introduction, and let me try to jump into your question as quick as possible. From my experience, and I'm speaking now about my experience in Egypt since 45 years, since my father in 1977 decided to go back to Egypt to establish a biodynamic farm in the desert, which seemed pretty crazy in 1977 and still seems to be crazy. That he also decided to go back and to develop a business model which would go along with what we currently call fair trade. He called it Iqtisad al-Mahabba, economy of love, which obviously, when you say it in the business faculty, it will sound pretty crazy. And then he came back with an idea to focus on human development instead of financial development and profitability, which again didn't seem to be very much in line with any ideas of a decent company, profit maximization, shareholder value, and so on. And last not least, for 1977, quite early, he was convinced that as a social entrepreneur, he is responsible for community development even, not only human development, but community development. So with such an idea at the beginning of a family business, first of all, obviously, it's a mission impossible, it cannot happen, but the reason I'm here is because a miracle unfolded, and it happened in the desert, and today, thousands of farmers work biodynamically in Egypt, thousands of people work in SECAM, thousands of students go to the Heliopolis University for Sustainable Development, which cooperates with the AUC, and thousands of kids go to our schools and so on. So, what would be my reflection on family business resilience? The one thing, obviously, what I just said is you need a long-term view, you need a long-term vision, and you need, in this vision, to embed the 4 dimensions of currently called sustainable development. When my father did it in 1977, there was no word called sustainable development. He called it holistic development, and it was still the same. So it has to integrate economic development, human development, societal development, and on the basis, obviously, of ecological development. And so my first advice, actually not only to family businesses, to any business in the world, would be include these 4 dimensions. If you want to be resilient, if you want to be sustainable, if you want to be there in 40 years, 100 years, then you cannot neglect the complexity and the integration of these 4 dimensions. And opposite of all the assumptions, and here this is a challenge for a business faculty, mine, yours, and every other one I know. Also, it seems that when you invest into human development, that this is an additional cost. And when you invest into community development, additional cost, it makes you more expensive, it makes you less competitive. I can, from my own experience, say that it makes you more efficient, more productive, more profitable, and our margins, and I'm speaking now about SECAM, ISIS, ATOS, and so on, our companies in the food, pharma, and textile industry are benchmarked with the industry margins higher. Okay, so this is something which should really be put into the consideration, that it's not, what I'm claiming is not cover everything with a nice blanket of love and hugs and kisses. No, it's really about getting sustainable, getting resilient, getting competitive. And from the other side, and this is what also is knocking on our doors more and more. I remember in the Egyptian Junior Business Association, we discussed this 20 years ago, and everyone then told me, you are crazy, and this is never going to happen. I spoke about climate change, water scarcity, these kind of things, and everyone thought this is, how is this related to competitiveness? Huh? Competitiveness is about how can you make more money? Huh? And this is something which obviously will make you less money. But this is not true, and today we learn it on the expensive way. So I believe that by investing into sustainability and sustainable development, again, you make your company resilient, sustainable, more competitive than the companies who do not do this. It will go along for just some more time that you can externalize costs. Huh? And this will go for as long as governments, consumers, other companies allow this to happen. But every true cost accounting in the world proves that, for example, organic food is cheaper than conventional food. Organic food. And still in the shelf it's more expensive because we are allowed to externalize the impacts of our conventional cucumber in the Carrefours by not including the health impact, social impact, water pollution impact, climate impact, nothing. Eh? How long? Let's see. We are speaking about resilience, long-term, sustainable development. It will prove that organic is cheaper. And the same goes for renewable energy, and the same goes for every other more sustainable practice. So it's not more expensive, not more inefficient. It's more efficient, more productive, and you just need to be an entrepreneur. So this is maybe another factor I would like to just put on the table. Sustainable development is not a luxury. Sustainable development is about the core of competitiveness. And obviously there is this other question of how to organize a family business in a way which makes it possible to sustain generations. I can only, again, from my own experience, tell you that obviously at the first place you have to have a holistic vision and you have to really invest into sustainable development, and this is for every company the same. As soon as it comes on the issue of what about ownership and management, and I'm really eager to hear from my colleagues here on the panel, but my experience is more and more, and in the future more and more, you cannot predict, promote, ask your next generation to do what you did. This is not possible. Huh? And it lies in the nature of human development, and it's something, it looks a little bit illoyal, and I invested in you, my dear daughter, my dear, I don't know what. This is all stupidity. Huh? You never invest into somebody for your business. You can help someone from the next generation to unfold his potential, but this can be as an artist, as a teacher, as a farmer, as whatever. So to invest in him to do what you did, this is already the wrong start. It's like in Egypt, where you enter university on your numbers in the high school, which was anyhow stupid exams, and then on these stupid exams you enter what you have as numbers, not what you like to do and where you want to unfold your potential. So how want you to excel in something you don't want to study, but you have to study, and so on. So I think we have to accept that our next generation wants to unfold its potential, and we have to invest into this unfolding potential. And I'm very happy if some of my daughters, of my 4 daughters, are joining in, but if not, I'm also happy. So I have to say goodbye to the idea you are my 4 daughters and you have already a clear career path. It's not happening, and it will not happen. So the next question is, this means automatically ownership and management have to be separated, and there has to be a good governance structure in place. Something we invested in 2007, and I'm very happy that we did this, and that we have this board and committees and external board members and minority rights you cannot believe, and all kind of things to make sure that our company can be resilient and go into the next decades, at least, let's say. I don't claim centuries, but decades, hopefully. And so this separation is the first thing, and then on the other side, of course, remains one last question. This is a very specific question in our case, because obviously we in SECAM believe that there must be a kind of a dedication to a purpose. And there's a movement in the world, maybe something to be studied also at the business faculty here, called Purpose Cooperation Movement. Many of you may have heard it, and it's about new laws, which are already available now in Italy and in the US and so on, that a company can more or less belong to itself or to its purpose, still giving dividends to the family or to shareholders or somebody else, but being more connected to its purpose than previously. Not bound by the old laws of shareholder value and profit maximization, but real purpose-driven companies. I would say that this is something which we applied in our case, and I can only recommend to consider this as a possibility to go forward. And besides, I wish you good luck. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Helmi, for your great insights as always. Now I would like to invite Mohammed Abu Ghali to introduce his insight.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Randa. Thank you, Doctor, for inviting me. Thank you, Helmi, for this inspiring story. It's very nice. I always hear it from you. Thank you very much. Thank you for sharing. Actually, family business is a very broad topic that it will be very challenging for me to cover it in 10 minutes. Yet I can share with you our experience in our family and how we evolved over the generations. Because Abu Ghali family started the business back in 1932 with my grandfather, and evolved in different businesses, starting from the fish business. Now we are in the car business. And this is a true story about how the family can start with the business and evolve to another business. This is something for me, when I hear it from my dad, it's really inspiring. Family business consists of 2 words, family, then business. So family comes first, this is for sure, because there is a lot of conflicts can raise from the structure of the ownership. So I believe taking care of the family will take care of the business by itself. And if we can see the big names around the world, we will find out the biggest, like the Google, it's a family business. They are cousins, and they started the business as a family business, and still they are owners. There is a lot. Samsung is a family business. Name it. I have plenty of names: Walmart, Volkswagen, Mars, 6 rent-a-car that we are taking care of it in Egypt is a family business. So actually, we are not that far from other international experiences from a family business point of view. The challenges always comes in 4 main points. Succession, it's very important. As Helmi was just referring, it's not about who from my sons or daughters will come into the business. It is about how we can evolve the business to the next generation as shareholders, not as a management, because there is a huge difference between management and ownership. Before, it was a mix of both, because it was a small businesses, and the more you evolve, the more you grow, you need to separate and put the governance systems in place and the structures and the process and procedures that will make the decision-making process as professional as it should be. Definitely coming from an informal organization to a formal organization carries a lot of challenges, because there is this, they call it the Bermuda Triangle. When you have this operating module and you are a formal organization, so the operation will come very slow because the decision-making process is completely different. When you are in a learning organization that evolves that quickly, you have less operation systems in place that will make it very easy to grow and to be agile versus the formal organization. And this is, the art of management is to jump between the two curves, between a learning organization coming from informal to be just at the right point to be a formal organization. And this is something that we really need to take care of, because it's blurry at this point of time. The other thing regarding after the succession, I mentioned 4 things. Succession is number 1, putting systems in place, because as I mentioned, these 2 curves, it's very important to put the systems in place and to have the process and procedures that will run the show no matter who is running this organization. Number 3, how to be agile, to adapt, because we are facing these challenges of competition, market situation, economy situation, and this is an external challenges that we need to face. So we have to take care of this for sure. Number 4 is how we can think about this organization in the future. That the most important question that keeps me awake at night is, will be there tomorrow? And this is the main question that we, all of us, need to ask, because it is the question that you need to think, so you can put the plan and the strategy and the actions that will make this organization live for the next generations. I will tell you my personal experience with I have 2 sons just graduated from George Washington, and Mustafa is just sitting here with us. During their raising, they were coming with new agencies coming along, and they are very excited to join the family business. And they were really surprised, including their mom, that I told them, no, you can't do this in the time being. You need to take experience at least 3 to 5 years to be exposed in different businesses, so you can come and add value, not because you are Abu Ghali holding name. It's very important to prove yourself as a professional businessman rather than Abu Ghali holding name. This is very important. And it is an ongoing process, because you need to transform while you perform. It's something that we need to take care of, because it's not that I will stop here until I transform and then I will resume perform. It's about performing while you're transforming. And it's not an easy job. I'm not saying that we are doing it perfectly. We definitely have some failures, and there is always a huge difference between failures and mistakes, because failure, you are doing something without knowing, or you don't have it's unknown, the output, and you fail in it. But mistake, you know that you are doing an action that with a negative output and you're still making it. This is a mistake. So we need to embrace failures, and we need to fail forward. Failing forward means we need to celebrate these failures and to have the learnings accessible for not the existing management team, for even the coming management team, because all of us, we know that. We are facing a lot of problems on daily basis, and we solve it. Problem is that we do not write it down. We don't put it in writing, we don't put it into, we don't embed it in the system, so we do other failures tomorrow, but without doing mistakes that we did yesterday. And this is experience. I always share it with my team, and I want to share it with you. You write down the conclusions of solving problems every single day. You create a knowledge base. In 5 years, no one will compete with you, because you will be very fast. And if you are not fast enough, you will be dying sooner or later. If you are not growing, you will be dying sooner or later. You need to have those two big challenges: to grow and to be fast. And this is not an easy job. You need a team. You always hire, and we hear about that, and we know it. I know it's not an easy job, but you need to hire people that better than you, that can do things more creative than you. And I always, in my birthday, I always have been asked, what's your wish for the coming year? I just want to be as much creative as I am now, or better than this. Because if I lost this creativity and my motives towards the future, I will be also dying sooner or later, in my mind, not physics. Amar biyadillah. It's a lot of family business. It's a complex business. It's about the family and the business. It's not the corporate. There is a lot of differences between the corporates and the family business. Culture, decision, structure, agility. These things makes family business resilient and stay for double the time of any corporate. And this is from studies, because it works through the purpose, because there is a meaning behind the family business. There is a values for the family, good or bad, no matter. Because family is running this business through the values, and the interaction between the family and the community is so important, because it's not only about donations. The involvement of family business with the community is not about donations only. It's about how you put dent and add value to others' lives. We did that with the London Cab project that we did. We have like more than 400 drivers that we did this school for, train them, and whoever succeed, he goes into the project. Who do not succeed, he goes to the community, because all of us been asked about, do you know a good driver? I just fired my driver yesterday because he's an idiot. So it is something that we did because we know there is a pain in the community about that, and this will solve فرصة عمل for someone and a pain on the other side for someone else. This is how we do it. Unfortunately, my time is over, but I can go forever. It's something that I love, and it's always the generation clash. I was so lucky I didn't have it, because I've been given the opportunity from my dad to do whatever I think I can. He never asked me to join the business. I love it from day one. I was buying cars from the newspaper, used cars. I took some money from my grandfather, and I will give you this first business lesson I've taken from my grandfather when I asked him for the money. And he told me, when you are getting this money back? And I told him, this car, it was Fiora at the point of time. This was like 1985. And he told me, when you are getting this money back? I told him, I don't know exactly, 3 to 4 weeks. He told me, no, nothing like that. You gave me a date. And if you didn't give me back this money in this date, you never get it back. But you will never ask me for money again. So this was the first lesson I've taken in business that make me solid in my commitments, because commitment will make you start, so consistency will make you finish. And that's it. I told you I can go.
Okay, thank you very,
Someone needs to stop me. Thank you very much. Thank you for
Thank you very much, Mohammed, and we'll have more time definitely to share your best practices and your valuable experiences with us. Now let's move to regional experience and regional reflection, and I would like to invite our keynote speaker, Dr. Rohanus from Beirut, to share and reflect regarding his experience with family business.
Thank you, Dr. Ganda. Thank you, AUC, for the invitation. I'm delighted to be here. I'm lucky, I feel lucky that I've got two backgrounds. I have the family business background. We own a family business back home, and I'm in the academia. I teach family business governance in AUB, American University of Beirut. I'm going to share with you my experience, my story in my family business. We import products, food products in general in Lebanon, and we distribute it for the HoReCa service, HoReCa sector. We also have two factories, meat production facility and a salmon smokehouse. This is the nature of our business. But it all started when, with my two uncles and my father. My case is a bit different because I'm the second generation, we're the second generation, and we're already dealing with the cousins, brothers and cousins. It's not that, usually second generation family businesses are siblings working together, but my case is different. Second generation, even more complicated. Anyways, it all started with my two uncles and my father. I graduated with a master's degree and I joined the business directly, which was wrong. So I joined the business, everything was smooth. As Senator Muhammad said, I had a really good relationship with the first generations, my two uncles and my father. I had a green light, do whatever you want. And I started doing, diversifying, which is one of the things every single generation coming in, every single new member should do. They should bring in new ideas. This is how you grow. This is how family businesses grow. So I started, diversifying, importing new items. I established the salmon factory, smokehouse. Everything was going on well. I was alone. Suddenly, my brother came in, and then my cousin, and then another cousin. Things started to change. I was obliged to report to them, take their opinion, and I wasn't alone. Suddenly, my decisions were not there anymore. So naturally, conflict started to rise. So we started having conflicts. And I didn't have the answers to this. Every week we had some issues, which was normal, once again, I'm telling you. But I didn't have the answers. We didn't have a governance structure. We didn't have a constitution, no family meetings, nothing. The problem was that I noticed that, my friends, they are owners of family businesses, huge family businesses, one of the biggest in terms of turnover in Lebanon. They were facing the same things. Same issues, but we didn't have the answers. In my generation, the problem was that universities, they teach you how to become managers in corporations, my generations. And you end up having an MBA or something, you know how to manage a corporation. But then again, 85% of the businesses in all over the world, not only in Middle East, in all over the world are family businesses. So the chances that you're gonna end up working in a family business are high. But then, we didn't know. So this is why I wanted to continue. I wanted to get into the core of the problem, and I did my research, doctorate research on family business governance in Lebanon to find out how to solve these issues. So the funny thing is that during my research, I did the quantitative research and the qualitative research. Quantitative research, I got a lot of response from second, third, and fourth generation family business owners. When I asked this question, do you have family business governance? 70% they said yes. Do you have constitution? Do you have this? Everyone said yes. 70% said yes. When I reached to my qualitative research, same persons asking, more or less same persons asking, direct questions. When I asked this question, how do you think a family business should be governed? Most of them said it should be governed just like a corporation. And it's not a corporation. I told them, but it's not a corporation. It's a family business. We don't know. They don't know. I didn't know that we don't know how to govern a family business. Corporate governance is you've got the ownership, the management of the business, and you've got the board of directors. But family business is different. You've got another circle. You've got the family circle, and they overlap. And managing this, this complex situation is really different than a corporate governance. And this is what I found that, most of them they lack, they don't know how to govern a family business. This is the main challenge that we have in this area all over. In Lebanon, and I think more or less in this area, Middle Eastern areas, we have a familiar society. We live in a familiar society, collectivist society where family is important. Senator Muhammad just said, family business, family comes first. So whenever they've got an issue, they were governing the businesses without a family governance structure, without a constitution. Whenever they have an issue, family is first. They sit down and try to solve it. And if they're not able to solve it without the structures, someone must leave, just to keep the family unity, because family unity is quite important for us. So this is what they were doing. So challenges that we usually face. This is one of the challenges that I face, my family business. The challenges that we face is the continuity as a family business. We were just looking at the slides. I mean, continuity is a huge issue. Keeping the family unity is another huge issue. 30%, 70% of the businesses fail to transition from the first to second generation. Second to the third, 85% fail. Third to fourth, only 4% make it. I mean, it's a huge challenge. And how are we going to overcome this? It's through governance. It's through governance structures and a family constitution. It's through having a professional family business, hiring professional people, top-notch managers in order to manage the business and to raise the bar of the family business in general. So this is one of the challenges that every family business faces, continuity. And you can do this by planning succession and having a family business governance. What are the family business governance structures? You know, it's as Mr. Hermy said, you have to have an active board of directors first. Active board of directors, and he said something which is really important, independent members in it. Majority should be independent. If you have independent members, and these people should not have any interest with the company. You cannot bring in your lawyers, you cannot bring in your bankers as independent members because they are paid by you. They're not independent. So you have to have an independent board of directors with independent members. You have to have family meetings, family councils. You have to have top-notch management in general, and you have to have a family constitution, which is really important. Family constitution, which we don't have it. Usually, most of them, they don't have it. Family constitution, you have to write down in your mission, your vision of the family, conflict resolution, employment policies, dividend policies, everything that you want, you can write it, and you have to, apply it. Coming back to social responsibility, it is perceived that family businesses usually are socially not that responsible. They are not transparent. They want to keep the wealth of the family in the family business. But according to research, this is not true. They are much more transparent, they're much more socially responsible because they see, according to the research, they see the stakeholders of the family business as extended family members. And they act accordingly. And if you look at the philanthropy that they do, donations that they do, usually the family businesses are huge. In terms of numbers, if you look at the 200 biggest funds in the US, 55% are family funds. And they contribute more than 56% of the donations that they do yearly. So in terms of corporate social responsibility, they have quite, not corporate, social responsibility, they're quite social responsible according to the data. When it comes to the governance, how are you going to improve the governance in general in the family business? There's no one solution. There's no one solution that you can apply to every single family business. Every single family business is different, and this is what we have done as a family business. I mean, we have written our own constitution. We've got our own structures. We've got our own. We don't have a family council. We have a family meetings because most of the family members are already in the board. Most of them. Unfortunately, we don't have independent board members, which is a really big problem. But we have our own constitution. We sit down, we have family meetings, and we try to solve issues like that. In terms of transgenerational entrepreneurship, as I said, every single newcomer, every single generation must bring in something new. And the funny part is that the current generation must accept that. This was what happened to me. This is what I can see that happened to Senator Muhammad. They have to accept they are better than us, the new generation, when it comes to technology, when it comes to AI or whatever. So you have to accept that, and you have to give them the opportunity to be entrepreneurs. This is what is called transgenerational entrepreneurs inside the family business. Have funds, have committees, and let them decide on the business plan. Let them present the business plan, and let the funds, let the committees decide on it. It's their obligation to bring in this new, to be entrepreneurs in general in family businesses. So to conclude, I don't have much time to conclude, having a family business governance structure in hand, having entrepreneurs, new generations coming in, we're gonna end up having a successful and a business that will continue to survive for generations. Thank you.
Thank you, Johannes, for great insights. And along local, regional, and international perspective, as clear, we all share same concern regarding family business. So it's time to start our open and constructive discussions. We want to address as many questions as we can. So each participant kindly, you will have 3 minutes to reflect on each question to provide a good opportunity for all our participants to participate. In fact, local family businesses of all sizes have always been the backbone of our economy. Yet, unfortunately, around only 30% continue to the next generation, and only 3% continue beyond the 3rd generation, which is very low percentage. So the first question and main concern that we'll tackle, that's regarding what challenges may family businesses have today and in the future, and what are the recommended strategies for family business to persist and to flourish. So who would like to start? Okay, Ahmed.
Hello, everybody. This is Ahmed Nawara. I am CEO of Family Business. I'm the 2nd generation. And actually, I'm also finalizing my doctorate degree in family business sustainability. So actually, I have both worlds, the academia and the practical side. Answering your question, Randa, I think in our part of the world, there is no one size fits all. Of course, there are many fixed things that we have to do, every family business, but there are many things that is more depending on the structure of the family. To answer your questions, we have, like Muhammad said, the family and the business. The key word here is balancing the alignment, the goal alignment between the family and the business. If you can look at the family side, we have to have shared value, very clear shared value. We have to have transparency. We have to have succession planning, family hiring policy, goal alignment, as I said. On the other side, on the business side, of course, like our colleagues said, we have to have a very clear structured corporate governance with independent board members, with the clear policies and procedures, and with all other minor tactical challenges like talent management, like access to finance and so on, and flexibility as well. In my case, very quickly, in our group, I'm, as I told you, the 2nd generation. We have been through a full corporate governance journey. We now have active board with more than 50% independent board members. We have sets of ExComs, executive committee meetings, SNOPs, internal auditor, and so on. And I have a very quick story regarding when we were finalizing our family hiring policy. We did a workshop inviting all family members 16 years and over. So we are 13 in the 3rd generation and 4 in the 2nd generation, including my son and my daughter in this workshop. And I proposed as a CEO and as having some influence in the family, I proposed a certain policy that was overruled completely by the 3rd generation, and I had to abide to them. It was mentioning that any graduate from the university has to spend at least 5 years, like you said, having experience in a multinational and having a master's degree and so on. And they changed it to 3 years instead of 5 years. They said 5 years is too much. So actually we changed this to be 5 years. And now we have 2 of the 3rd generation already in the business. And hopefully we arrive to a sustainable family business. Thank you.
Thank you, Ahmed, and thank you for sharing your best practices that for sure will be useful for others. Okay. Yes, Mr. Amr? Yes.
So thank you for this kind invitation, and sorry for my voice. My name is Amr Boufreika. I'm the CEO of Tanta Motors Company, which is established in 1950. So I'm 3rd generation in a family business. 4th is coming in the process. The 2nd generation were 4, 3rd is 10, and 4th are 25, and the 5th are 15. The oldest in the 5th is 17 years old now. And I'm here today not only for sharing experience, but also for listening and putting some challenges which I'm facing right now. Because in this very tough period, we have it in the past period, we start a way of governance from the founder time, which was very clear about separating his own money from the company money. And then he transferred it to the second generation. And for the third generation, some of them are grow up as an entrepreneur. So nothing's for free. And this is what I applied with my kids even. My daughter, she's graduated from AUC here. She double major in economics and now found her own job in EY. And my son graduated from UCL and now he's working in BCG. And he also got his own job. I didn't do anything for them. But in the same thing, I did it that very clear, which my father was trying to do with us, and he didn't, unfortunately he didn't make it, that to not enter the company without working at least 3 years outside the company in a at least multinational or very organized organization, and he should be very strong on this. This is I applied with the fourth generation, not with my son, but with my cousin's son, and it succeeded. Then we forget that we are in the planning and the governance model is something dynamic, and it should be adopted every time and where. Then till we find this situation of economical situation, we face it. So suddenly the family began to have the threat that the wealth is under threat, that the dividends is not as they are expecting, the cash is not very good. So now we in that time, 1 year ago, we have a very big conflict inside the family. Then it came the core values of the family. I remember one of my cousins came to ask me, how do you see the problem, from where it came? I said, of course, we have fog related to trust problem, then prioritization of everyone. Then, so where is coming the solution? I don't know the name in English quite good. Coming from ikhlas and taqwa. Ikhlas meaning that, I remember always my father is, when we have a problem, he is always getting the main principles or to work on it, ikhlas. God is a third partner of any two mukhlas partners. Okay, so the first one, taqwa, that means that everything is, will be solved, inshallah. My biggest, and we used this trouble situation to, again, to work in the infrastructure of the governance. Today we accept that all together we will need to have a board, and we agreed about the new board. We agreed about having 3 independent, well-qualified, very well-qualified, okay? Even also that the chairman will be non-executive, independent, non-family then. And for me, I still as a CEO for the next 2 years, and hopefully that I will retire after those 2 years. My question for all you all. Okay. In those 2 years, in the coming 2 years, and with very big pressure we are facing in economical and social problems locally and outside, what do you advise me in this transformation period? Because I'm taking the decision of making a transformation in a crisis situation. Sorry for that, I'm taking more than money, but I'm always trying to get benefits from you. I will, from your experience especially, the one who passed and finalized the first steps in the governance model. So what is the advices should you give me in 2023 and 2024? Okay, to have my exit plan in a proper way.
Yes,
Thank you.
This will be a main concern and main question definitely that we'll discuss today before we end our roundtable. Thank you very much for your insights, and let's take also feedback. Yes, Dr. Zainab.
Thank you very much for the kind invitation. This is Dr. Zainab Shawi Younes, and I was very impressed really by the speeches, very insightful. I will talk a little bit from an academic point of view. not the actual experience of the actual bucket of the family business, but I would refer to the speech of Senator Muhammad when he was saying about the idea of failing forward. And I would take it from there and say, usually the challenges is that we teach the second generation to follow forward, not only to fail forward, and to be a little bit proactive, like being the hunter who eats the prey first. And this kind of proactivity encourages the business owners to buy the talent. In a family business, you have this bond existing. So usually from a public administration point of view, we say in a style of leading family business, you have to bond talent rather than buy talent. But in family business, the bond is there. But you should draw the thin line of distinction between the bond and the actual professionalism in the business. So you're all talking about separating ownership from management. I would talk about separating leadership from management. So the leader, the founder, puts the vision, and the managerial operations executes the daily running of the operations. And here comes the conflict, generational conflict. I'm freshly grad, and I want to run it this way. And this comes from the founder perspective of being more agile. And by agility, I would take it to another level. A family work-life balance, not only strategic agility, but a kind of operational agility when there is room for innovation, creativity, and so on. And basically, other challenges that family business might face is the idea that the second generation is usually fearful about decentralized decision-making. So there should be a kind of combination between democracy and autocracy. So the laissez-faire style of leading would be very advisable at that time, delegating or coaching, mentoring the second generation. So this is my comment. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Zainab. Any other reflections regarding challenges? Okay, let's move to another concept. Yes, sure.
Hello, thank you for the invitation. My name is Dr. Hani Sharif. I'm second generation of Megascan. It's radiology centers in Cairo. And I think the major challenge for family businesses are the third generation. The second generation usually follow the same path, and they usually innovate and make more expansion or whatever. But the third generation, you are facing different identities and with different ideas and different interests. So most of them are not interested in the expansion, in putting more money in the company. Most of them, some of them have different careers, and you would like to liquefy their shares or whatever. So this, I think this is the most challenging point in the career of the family businesses. The transaction from the second to the third generation, and this has to be done very carefully, and in governance, and everything should be put in laws and everything. But again, there are another problem that you'll be facing: offers by equities and investors which are interested in your company. And this again there will be different, again, ideas in the family. Some would like to sell the whole business. Majority, most of them would like, the investors would like to have a majority in your company. And you'll be having a great decision that a company that you have been building for like 40 or 30 years, you'll be giving it away. Of course, you get a management contract and everything, but again, this is a major decision, and it would take the company, you have to take several issues, whether this selling or merging or acquisition would take your company into a further step, or it's just having more money and giving away the company. So again, I think this is a major challenge and a major issue that has to be considered in the third generation. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Hani. And actually, there is no one magic formula that can make a family business move from one level to another and move from one generation to another, but there are definitely some common challenges and some good practices. So what are, from your perspectives and based on your valuable experiences and best practices, what are the key factors to successfully plan and execute a family business ownership transition from one generation to the next? Dr. Ahmed Mashhour.
Hi, Ahmed Mashhour from Systel Telecom. We're a system integrator. One of the things that I'd like to share today is the transition not just from the business owners, it's the idea of the founder or the leader who started the business. He has his own team. So moving from this team to the next generation, you have to have your own employees who share your vision as well, and how to deal with a generation with employees moving to the next level and having your team together in control of this business. So it's training first, getting outside of the company, getting the training, you say like 3-4 years, and then getting back to the company. So this could give you like a distance between you and the employees that you can work with and build on for the future. From my experiences, getting with those employees, getting to know it from a young age, getting to know all the business, all the tricks, everything, and then to start having the authority or the leadership or the say inside the company is that you have to have your own new ideas. This is what you shared earlier, is that you have to bring on the table something new to the company. So you know all the business, and then to move forward, you have to have your own ideas. Moving with your own ideas forward, you have to have the agreement of the whole employees that gives you the support moving forward in the future. So moving from one generation to the next is dealing with old employees and moving forward with the young ones, and how to get the support to get your ideas moving forward. So a question here is how to deal with the old generation of the full employees and then add your team moving forward in the future. So that's a question as well.
So maybe our keynote speakers would like to add any other reflection regarding this question or this concern. Any other participants? Regarding succession planning and good practices? Yes?
I can see there is 3 questions on the table. For you, sir, I will it's not about giving you an advice. معلش أنا ما بشوفش. آسف يعني. It's not about giving you an advice, because the worst thing you do is to give advice, because it's different context, and everyone is a product of his context. But I can give you from my experience, whatever you want to do over the coming 24 months in your last period of managing. The thing is to digitize your organization. Digitizing means that you look at the core of the business, and you make the process and procedures very clear, and try to put this technology aspects running it, so people can come and follow whoever will come. This is my thing. For Dr. Hani, it's about the shareholders agreement and the constitution, the family constitution that you are putting in place. So whoever wants to sell, this is his right, because this is something that he owns as a share. But that shareholders agreement, put it into writing that whoever wants to sell, who should be approached first, and what price, and there is always profession. We are in the business, huh? And there is professional people running this thing. We need to go and take their advice and ask them professionally what should be done. So it is about consultancy from a firm that goes and sees this, experiences a lot, and can give you share. This is what we did. We have a shareholders agreement to address the future, inshallah. Abu Hamid, it's not about the old guard and the new guards, and it shouldn't be like that. Everyone comes in, he will not coming in to be having full authority from day one. He will grow inside the organization, and during his journey of growing, he will make this. First of all, he needs to prove himself for the team. So when he says something, he will be well respected and well accepted. For me, it's not about old and new guards. It's about how the organization deal with the human capital. We call it human capital because it's the most important valuable capital in our organizations, more than the financial capital, because people makes money.
money can't make people. So how we can blend your qualified member of a family in the business, it depends on how he can prove himself first of all and be well respected and accepted by the team. Our organization, we are 1,200 people, and our average age in the organization 34.7. So there is no old and new. I consider one of the oldest. And we keep hiring between 27 and 35. There is some posts that with higher age for some reasons, but mostly we like to get people with new disruptive ideas that can make a difference and can challenge our management style and challenge our habits in running the daily operations. Thank you very much if I answered the questions.
Thank you, Mohammed. Any other advices from succession planning? Dr. Ghada?
And it's the mentoring of the new, thank you. It's the mentoring of the new generations. I think what differentiates between family business and corporate business is the passion of the founder towards the business. Like Mr. Helmi said, his father's legacy. So I think for me, it was the passion of my father. We work in the automotive business since 1978. We have the second largest factory in Egypt for assembling automobiles. So it's the passion that my father transferred to me that made me succeed in my field. And now this is what I am trying to give down to the third generation or the new employees. We have quite an old company because our workers are quite older than the usual, because we try to retain our staff and build on them and add of course new workers, especially on the assembly line. But what we try to give to our workers is the founders' passion, you know. So this is how they feel they're part of the family. And this is how my son, who is working with me right now, although he studied a completely different, he studied hospitality management, and it was his choice to join the family business. But this is what I try to teach him or to mentor him. I try to tell him how passionate we are about our family, our business, our workers who are the bigger family. And this is how we try to keep the business going through that. You know, the ru'ya of my father and his dream to be the biggest in the market.
Thank you very much, Ghada, and I believe completely that passion is a key word for any success, for sure.
I just need to add something. This is Ghada Hussam Abou Futuh, the guru of the automotive industry in Egypt, just for people to know, because she didn't mention exactly as guru. He inspired a lot of the automotive industry. I'm one of them.
Thank you, Ghada. Anyone else would like to share best practices? Okay.
It's also, again, a matter of challenging and putting and having advisors about it. One of the things which I believe it in the family business, when I remember in 2003, Helmi was ADB, the first time I saw the 3 circles, and it stopped me too much 3-circle model by Harvard in that time of the family business and trying to understand it. And recently I discovered that one of the challenges of the succession is not only in the business but also in ownership and in the family, because there are 3 circles we are talking about it, is the freedom. The challenge is the freedom. I have 4 cases. I have my brother, for example. This is a brother. I didn't have the choice to choose him as a brother, but I can choose him as a friend or cousin or something like that. The choice of to be investor, the freedom to be investor, the freedom to be a partner with somebody, okay, and the freedom to be employee. For me, for example, I didn't have the freedom to be employee because I think more of, or a lot of us, suddenly when just finished the university period, they didn't have the enough experience to take their, not like this generation we have today. They have the freedom to, no, I want to go this or this. No, no, come and work here, okay? And then after you find that you have a big responsibility in your shoulders. So the challenge is how to, if we can make those for freedom. The only thing that I cannot change it is to have a blood relation, but I can change a lot of things in a proper way, which is family constitution, having the shareholder agreement, putting the process in the place in the business. But again, in the transformation period, where we have, as a third generation, the flag from the second generation, and how to be transformed to the fourth and fifth, and for the other generation, this is a very big challenge. So also, again, I want to hear. I know that not a lot of you having, maybe Muhammad, when we were speaking about, he's from 6 or 7 generations, but we have also the challenge that we are still in the same business lines, but we extended, of course, during the, but under the same umbrella. We have the whole family still inside the family, not one part is taking the majority of the shares of the company. So a lot of conflicts here. So how to manage this transformation to apply the 4 rights or 4 freedom, which I was talking about. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, sure.
Succession is different than the ownership transfer transition. Ownership transition usually is done with 2 principles, 2 things in mind. Ownership transition, not succession. Okay, ownership transition is, ownership transition is done with 2 things in mind in family business. The first one, the taxes that you're gonna end up paying from, transferring the ownership from you to your sons and daughters. And the second thing you have to take into consideration, their needs, the family's needs, because this is quite important. I think this is what you raised. You have to ask them what they want. I mean, if you have 2 kids, 2 daughters and 2 sons, if one daughter, one son is involved in the business, the others are not involved in the business, ask them, tell them what they want. If they're not involved in the business, don't transfer the ownership of the business to them. Give them other assets. Give them something else. Even if you don't have assets, other assets or something, give them non-voting shares. Divide the shares into 2 different parts, voting and non-voting, so that they won't interfere in the business. Let them have the non-voting shares, fine. But at the end, what they want is principle, the dividends at the end. So they won't interfere in their business by doing this. So it's quite important. If you have the opportunity to give them other assets, fine. Let them not be involved in business if they don't want to. If they have other passions, other interests, let them go and do it. This is quite important that they don't usually consider the family business when they're transferring the ownership, not succession.
Thank you, Anis. Yes, Amina? Amina Alem?
Hi everyone, this is Amina Alem, Hassan Alem. Now I work in the Hassan Alem properties, but our core business since my grandfather Hassan Alem was Hassan Alem construction, bridges and roads. And now I joined my cousin. I think that the second most important keyword, as Ghada said, other than passion, is sustainability of the family business. First of all, since I graduated, I started to work in another field other than my family business field. I joined EFG Hermes. I wanted to have another experience other than the family business. I didn't want to join my parents to say as if I'm in Arabic, البنت المدللة. That's why I wanted to gain more experience doing in another field. But actually, I love the stock market, so I spent 18 years of my life working there, which was too much. But most importantly, that my father never forced me to work with them. But after 18 years, I realized that it's time that I join my family business, although the Hassan Alem properties started in 1992, while the construction, the core business of our family started in 1936. So again, sustainability is the most important thing, although also I graduated from the American University in Cairo. I was in mass communication and psychology, which has nothing to do whether with the stock market or with Hassan Alem business. So that's why I realized that I have, it's time to join my family business, because for myself and for all my cousins, our grandfather Hassan Alem is our legend. And of course, my father and my uncles afterwards. I'm the third generation, and I'm glad and very happy to join the family business, as I said, to keep the sustainability of the business forever, inshallah, and our other generation, our children. Thank you.
Thank you, Amina. And I believe that passion is a key word to support sustainability too. So they are with passion, yes? Rania?
Hi, this is Rania George. I am the CEO of Luna Cosmetics. This is a family business. My father has created the Luna Group since the 50s, and I consider myself as the third generation. My elder brothers, the two of them, they are 15 and 13 years older, so I come a bit later. I became the CEO after my elder brother left the company, and he made another business. And I'm here I thought of sharing this. I think that I'm sharing this first because I have two little girls, 6 and 8. So I'm still not in the phase of moving the business to them or something like this. And I think, I believe so much that the most important thing for parents or who owns a family business is not to teach their children to follow their vision or to accept their decision, but to teach them how to take a decision, how to take the right decision. I believe this so much because I was an architect. I studied architecture and did my master's. And my father, he always asked me, I want you to join the business, but he never pushed me to do that. And at a certain point when my brother left the business, he wanted to do something else, I felt maybe it's time that I help a little bit. And he never pushed me. He never told me, you have to do this. You'll have to join us. Or he never bribed me by getting me a car or anything, like to push me to join the business. He just let me go there by my own consent. And when I started working a little bit with them and helping everybody else, because it was a moment of crisis for us, for changing the real CEO of the company, I believe I was taught to always follow my passion, and I found a lot of passion in our business. We do cosmetics, and there's a lot to give to this market and to present a local brand with a very high quality to the market, and to take it to to become one day maybe a multinational. So teaching our kids how to take the right decision is very important. Follow the passion, as Ghada said, and many of you said as well, is tremendous, because this is the fuel that pushes you throughout the dark days. And working in our environment, I can see a lot of dark days coming with ups and downs all the time, and we get out from a cycle to another cycle. I also believe in one very important thing for those who mentioned that the young generation should join other businesses first and experience another field before joining. This is very important, because my mentor once told me, your first school is the school that will give an impact on your life. And it's true. When you go to a multinational or to another company, you learn what to accept and to see, and you start sensing what's right and what's wrong. So you know how to give an input when you join the family business. One last thing, it's very important that those who join the business starts from the first level down, Because when you go through every single detail, you know later on when you're on top how to take the decision, and you know what to ask from the others. Thank you.
Thank you, Rania. And I totally believe that taking the right decision at the right time is definitely very important as well for any business, and in particular for family businesses. And in fact, there is no unique model of corporate governance applicable to all family businesses. And as a first step, families need to study and to understand the uniqueness of their family businesses to put in place a customized manual suitable for their businesses and family dynamics. So how can we assist family businesses to improve their governance, and in particular to initiate a family business constitution? Yes, Dr. Zena?
So, again, from a managerial or a public administration point of view, I think a family constitution is like a charter. If you're ready to move away from the charter, create a certain kind of flexibility, because the charter would dictate the culture of the family business. And if this culture is strong enough that does not offer a room for change, it would create afterwards like a rigid institution. And if it's a rigid institution, it's going to be very difficult to transcend values from one generation to the other. It will be always the founder having this culture of this is the way we do things here. And if this is going to be always the case, there will not be any empty room for what we call cultural agility. My last research was about cultural agility, not only in multinationals, but transcending from one generation to the other. So this idea of cultural agility creates a certain pattern of integration. So the founder of the business, it's all about the founder. And it's again all about the leader, how to orchestrate this leadership. We call it like a symphony, but it goes from one generation to the other in the idea of a little bit of agility, a little bit for a room for adaptability to the new values. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Zainab. Any reflections regarding the family business constitution? Are you supporting this, or yes?
As I said, that I will use this panel to as much as I can. One of the things which one of my friends showed to me is business simulation for a family business, created by also Harvard again. And when I go with this model with him, for the first generation, I put myself in the position of my grandfather and what would be his decision in such situation. In the second generation, this business simulation was almost 80 years, can reach to the company life for 80 years. By the decision I took, as if I were in their position, the company didn't succeed till 40 years. Okay. And of course, the simulation was about a company in India with different culture and other things, but the core of the things in the family business worldwide are the same. When we come to the constitution about the relation between the family and between the owners and between the business, I think the problem always coming from the family, because always we are looking for our personal relation together as something very sensitive to speak about it. Even if sometimes if we are talking about the business, if sometimes we feel shame to speak about problems which we face inside our companies. But in the family, it's more, okay, all the problem coming from the same perspective. So I remember my brother, when we started the governance in 2007, and then we slow down in the applying and the continuous improvement of it. He was insisting about the constitution and trying to put it in paper and something like this. But by the end, here we are talking about our relations, which we build it together, personal relation, how to put it in a paper, and how to fight for it, and how to defend it, and how to improve it, and make it a continuous improvement for it. So this is a question, is how to write it, not in the academical way. I can put paper and just write it, but how to gain from somebody from outside to sit with me, to speak about my relation with my wife, my kids, and my brother, my cousin. Okay, this is very sensitive area. I know that we will not go in such things, and we are trying to put it in a business model, but you cannot treat the family as a business. This is a challenge also. How can we?
Thank you.
Question.
Mr. Mohammed?
Yes. If you don't mind, I wish to discuss another side of the family business, because sometimes you're the only heir to the business. There's no one else who can take this responsibility. Of course, at the beginning, it sounds like it's a blessing. I mean, you have a job right away when you graduate, and you don't have to prove yourself to anyone. You just go ahead and be in the business and have a job right away. But actually, after some time, it turns out to be a huge challenge and a big burden. My father, for instance, he lived the Nasser era and the war era during the President Sadat, and then there was the open market economy, and everyone was opening a lot of businesses. So instead of having one big business, you had several medium to small size of businesses. So that's what I found when I graduated, that I have to handle many or several businesses. So part of them, construction business, one of them is the construction business. Another one's agricultural business, so I'm supposed to learn about the agriculture and the cycle and everything that happens with agriculture. Another business was real estate business, so I thought this was very, very challenging. And the way he managed things to begin with was the old traditional way. So I think for family businesses, the first step to be done is really governance, putting different departments in the same companies and running the one-man show that the people used to adopt before. It does not work. So governance and putting everything in the right place, I think that's how it should be done. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mohammed. We can tackle another perspective related to family business. Actually, it's essential for family business to embed a foundation of philanthropy to promote core values across generations. So how can family business impact society, and what are the social responsibility strategies for family businesses? Family business and corporate social responsibility. Any good practices to share?
Can we speak about it? I mean, that's not charity, by the way.
I believe Mr. Helmi also provided
Helmi,
lots of examples, and it's really a role model of what they are doing.
Especially about education and educated people here.
And Randa, the observers,
Okay, Dr. Mustafa?
And there is a clear phenomena I usually see when I deal with a family business client, when we do consulting. They are very reluctant to share information. So every time when we tackle an issue, they keep dripping information. They don't want to disclose much information, especially when it comes to financial part. My question is, why is this phenomena usually associated with family businesses, and how can we deal with it as a consultants? Especially we have many family businesses representatives here. Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Amr, would you like to?
Yeah, I want to, because this is a very interesting point. I think it's belonged to the culture. I think it's belonged to the culture of the family business, especially if it is an old company which face a lot of challenges during its life. So I remember one of people said about our company, we face revolutions, we face socialism, face diseases, we face earthquakes, wars, everything. So in such environment, you are always under microscope. So We are worried from giving information, especially financial information, which is lead to a risk from any things. Plus مش عارف الحسد بالانجليزي يعني ايه بس one of the things is if we are looking for it as a business, corporate business without family, you will find more transparency than it is in the family. Other thing is very important is about when we are talking about transformation. In the founder, he is always putting the assets inside the company. Okay, so and there is no re-evaluation about it. And suddenly that this land will you can evaluate it with 1,000 times more from its book value. Okay, so how can he handle this? So he will use the indirect way for handling this. So always a lot of things is hidden here. Thank you.
Okay. I want to add to this point. I think it's although if I'm asking the opinion of a consultant, I would give him everything I have, so because I'm seeking a professional opinion or help. But I think it's fear of scrutiny, because it's more fear of scrutiny rather than fear of disclosure. Because I think in our society, it's very well known that we all know each other. Everybody knows the families, and so maybe it's an embedded belief that you will say something to a competitor or go out and talk to a bank and say that I saw their financials. But I think this is why there are non-disclosure agreements between consultants and companies. But I think it is fear of scrutiny.
Do you need a mic, Dr. Mustafa? Okay, you need a mic.
The reason I raised this question because I faced it twice when I was working with a client also from Iraq. Very reluctant, large business, but they keep dripping information every time. But I remember I raised this issue of having agreement between the client and consultant, but I remember his answer. Okay, this after all is on paper. I cannot stop you from spreading information if you decided to do so. I know it's a matter of trust, could be, but very interesting phenomenon. Thank you so much for your answer, though.
طيب, let me just crash the conversation here, for the lack of a better word. And I want to build on something that Mohammed mentioned, and then many of you actually mentioned. That wealth and depth of challenges and opportunities and successes and failures across the board in different family businesses is knowledge by itself. And I think with time, unless it's documented, we forget. No matter how generations would pass that knowledge and the ups and downs, there just won't be there in a few years. This is an invitation for those of you who are willing to capitalize on an establishment we had here for 16 years now, right? Did I make that count right? Yeah, since 2007. Documenting case studies. This is exactly why did we do the Khazandar case, Business Research and Case Center years ago, is that as faculty, we always used to teach Harvard Business School cases. And of course, Harvard Business School cases are fantastic. Yet, every single faculty, whether in marketing, whether in finance, whether in IT, whether in what have you, we drop probably 50% of the case, which is very much US-centric. We can learn from it, but it's different from the market that we have here. So again, over the years, we've probably developed 150 cases and mini cases over the span of 16 years. But please, this is an invitation because those cases will be taught with their ups and downs. Because I admire what you said when you said celebrating failure. By the way, I once said that 10 years ago on campus here, and I was slaughtered by saying celebrating, and they translated it as, well, the dean wants to go and party. I didn't say that. I said celebrating failure in the sense that we learn from our mistakes. Otherwise, we won't get anywhere. So thank you for saying that. So those case studies will be invaluable for our students. We already have some, by the way, and we try actually to accommodate some companies, not just family businesses, but companies and businesses, again, go to Ghada's point, fearing from the financial statements. We told them, listen, give us statements that dates back 5 years, 6 years. But still, we need to give the full experience to our students. So that's my first point. My second point, so having been around the institution for quite some time, I can tell you, this is a small university. I mean, compared to Egyptian universities, we're tiny. Yet we always believe that it's a small institution with a big impact. And we're very, very proud that our change makers and graduates are out there in family businesses, in private sector, in government, in civil society, and making all the difference. Many of them are around the table here today. The demographics of the students of AUC over the past 4 to 5 decades was overwhelmingly the sons and daughters of civil servants and people working in corporates. But since the late 80s, it is predominantly and overwhelmingly the sons and daughters of family businesses. So what you're saying here today is invaluable, to say the least, to their learning experience. Because I completely agree, sending out the second generation to get the experience, untainted by anything, and then come back and take the lead, because it's a business that was established over several generations. But sometimes the things, the bits and pieces that are not written in the books that happen day to day, the informality of it is, again, priceless. So this is my second invitation. Of course, if you agree, and of course, if you and your colleagues in the different businesses have the time, we always bring the experience, the market experience, into the classroom. We hardly take the classroom into the market experience. So this could be a 1 day, it could be half a day, it could sometimes even be 3 hours. But in my view, listening to that firsthand, instead of through the lens of the faculty, which is perfectly fine, but from the owners and the founders and the second and the third and the fourth generation of businesses, I think this is would be a priceless experience for them, especially, as I said, that most of them, one day or another, they will join their own businesses. Thank you. I'm sorry for crashing the conversation.
Okay, Wafa, would you like to contribute?
Hello, everyone. I'm Wafa Sabri, the Director of External Relations at the School of Business. Adding to what Dean Kamel just said, we're having this year-round family business initiative at the school. This roundtable is one of the initiatives. And in order to document the cases of the family businesses' successes, failures, and resilience, and other success stories, we are running the campaign that Dr. Randa talked about at the beginning on family business. It's an engaging campaign. We're inviting the family businesses to submit their case studies about what they want to share with other businesses, other family businesses, to share their working knowledge in a very condensed 3-minute video where they want to focus on something, an experience that they have gone through, whether it be it on succession planning, governance, an issue that they faced and how they tackled it in order to ensure the sustainability of the business. So invite all the family businesses here to engage with us in this campaign, because it will be a way of having a case study on family businesses. And we're having a closing ceremony for this campaign on the 16th of May, where we have the chance to present your case to the public audience. It's not going to be a closed discussion like this one. And our main objective is to really benefit from your working knowledge and share it with other smaller or medium-sized family businesses where they can share the experience and not have to reinvent the wheel. So this is very important, and hopefully we'd like to have different generations of family businesses represented in this campaign, so we have the point of views of different generations. Adding to this, like we're all talking, I think most of the participants on the table represent the second generation of family businesses, or maybe the third, but I'd like to hear it from Mustafa here, Mustafa Wagheli, I think it'd be very interesting to see his take on the discussion and what he thinks of what has been said here.
Thank you so much. My name is Mustafa Mohammed Mer Abou Ghali. I'm yet to earn the right to speak in front of all of you wonderful individuals. There's still a lot to learn and a lot to understand. However, I'll just add a very small point to the conversation. As I was growing up, I was witnessing my father and my grandfather grow up in the family business as well. So the business was evolving as I was evolving as a human. And I felt that was important to share. It wasn't forceful, it was very natural. Every summer between my school, I was blessed enough to work for a couple of weeks in a different department, learn about the company, learn about what's going on, learn about the people inside the company. And that allowed me to love the business, love what the business means. Because the thing about a family business that I feel like I should mention is that the people that work in the business are also family. They respect the name if the name is respectable. And I'm proud. I'm a proud son, a proud grandson, and I intend to work hard in order to hopefully repay the blessed life. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mustafa. I want to mention that PwC are our partners for the campaign. And maybe Dr. Randa can invite PwC to
We would like to know more from Mr. Nabil regarding the PwC survey. Or Mr. Magid, Dean, Family Business Survey, yes?
Put you on the spot يعني.
Yeah, exactly.
On the go كده.
أنا باصص الناحية دي وبعدين. لا, it's about the PwC survey on family business. It's actually a global survey where Egypt participated. I think there was some representation in the Middle East as well. So this is coming soon. The results are already published. No, we didn't yet receive it in PwC Egypt, but we'll do in a few days. And we are going to have a session here to discuss and present the results from different perspectives, from the global, the Middle East, and from Egypt perspective. So wish to see you all, inshallah, in this presentation, and we'll share the survey results with all of you as well to read, but also we'll love to have such a discussion because it will enrich the learning out of this survey for all of us. And really pleasure seeing all of you today.
Thank you. And we are looking forward to getting the results very soon, and we really looking forward for your participation to share your best practices along our campaign. Dr. Ahmed Tolbo.
Thank you. First of all, it's a pleasure to listen to all of you, and of course many of you I know very well. So I'm Ahmed Tolbo. I'm the chair of the Department of Management. I want to share a couple of things. First is I work with one of the family businesses that I would have loved also to see, and many of us know, Al Arabi Group. And one of the things that I noticed is that I was providing a training to them, and after I finished the training, I discovered that each one of them was mentioning their names, like first and second name without family name. And there are maybe 20%, 30% of the members were Al Arabi as third or fourth, maybe third generation, maybe some are even fourth. So one of the things that's really amazing is how they immerse the new generations within the employees and create this social dimension. So when it comes to social impact, this is a mix of both. And they have written a book about the philosophy, and it came from the owner, which I think it's going to be published soon. So one of the things that's really important is how these evolve. So not only they develop throughout their journey and learn, like hopefully Mustafa will be in Abou Ghali, but also they create this culture with their employees, 40,000 employees, but still they create this family culture, which I believe is great. Another thing I learned from this particular experience is they have a board of a family board. They only have two boards, the company board and the family board, something I've not seen before. So I thought this would be interesting to explore as well. My last point I want to mention, of course, I would like to second Dean Kamel about the case studies, which is, you know, how much I support big time. Last thing I want to say, I'm one of the authors of the Global Entrepreneurship Monitor Report for Egypt. And there is always a dog. Egypt is always at the very tail of the ranking when it comes to legal and regulatory environment. And I'm sure that this affects family businesses big time. And I've witnessed it also with these family businesses a lot, who suffered especially during the past economic crisis or the current economic crisis. And I wonder whether if we document case studies and we face problems that are very similar, how far, and especially we have Senator Mohammed with us as well, how far we can lobby to make some push in that respect, because we have incredible potential, not only in the success and sustainability of the family businesses, but also exporting. How far we can do in order to push these powers of family businesses to solve such problems that have been chronic forever. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Tolga. Actually, talking about globalization to digital transformation, along with determination to sustainable development, is always crucial for family business to continuously adapt, to survive and grow. And as all you agreed that there are key terms that we reflected regarding passion, sustainability, adaptability. So how to build an adaptable and sustainable entrepreneurial family business culture, and from your practices and valuable experience as a last note to support other family businesses as well. Yes?
My name is Mohammed Mardini. Thank you for having me today. I'd like to take a step back because our experience is quite unique, my sister and I. We come from a family that has a history of always breaking up the business at the third generation. And I think the main reason is failure to delegate. Like with any other business, when someone starts a business at first, he or she, they do everything on their own. They know the ins and outs of a business. And some people fail to grow beyond that stage or that mentality, whether it's a family business or just any regular startup. Most businesses fail in the first 5 years, and 9 out of 10 that succeed to survive the first 5 years fail in the second 5 years. And I think the main issue is lack of communication and lack of delegation. We need to be able to not just hire talent, to nurture talent, and to give this growing talent the healthy environment where it can become more confident and be able to take on roles in the business. I really respect the life cycle of a business. I think it takes a lot of money, blood and tears to build a successful business. I don't see us having many historical businesses in Egypt. I think Egypt has gone through a lot of political and economic turmoil in the past. Abdel Nasser era and the Ta'meem, we lost a lot of businesses. Those that survive, I think they're a handful. I'm not sure the exact number. But for us to be able to export and to compete globally, I think we need to have businesses that can compete on a global level. And to do that, we need experience. We need businesses that have been operating for years. And for that to happen, we need to help these businesses to grow and create the ecosystem where they can flourish. And if we're talking about family businesses, I think one of the key factors that ensures its survival is delegation. To think past the one-man show and to either scout talent from within the family or from elsewhere and delegate and pass on the knowledge so we can have more companies that can compete globally. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Any other final notes? Okay, Ahmed?
think, Randa, also to answer your question regarding how to encourage the entrepreneurial spirit within the family, is to try to strike also the balance between embracing new ideas and embracing what the third generation or the new generation are coming with, but with balancing the agreed upon family values and family culture. So we have to have an agreed upon like very macro level values that we should not compromise, while at the same time we have to embrace change, we have to embrace updates, we have to accept that new generations are coming with ideas beyond our mindset, because things are changing very fast. Yesterday I heard the great speech from Dr. Ayman Ismail in the commencement about how really the future of the new generations are different from our future, and how we should embrace that and accept that and try to encourage that to try to benefit the family and the business. Thank you.
Thank you, Ahmed. Thank you all for your great insights and constructive discussions. Actually, we are getting close to the end of our time together and looking forward to more future collaborations on the theme of family business. Now my colleague, Dr. Hoda Al-Olali, will provide the closing remarks. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. First of all, I would like to thank you all. It has been an honor and a pleasure to have you with us, and I really appreciate your invaluable insights. I'm supposed now to summarize the 2 hours in a couple of minutes. I will do my best. That's why I've been taking notes for those that didn't understand the Adab Ta'milidi. But there will still be a proper white paper that will be further developed. I decided to just give you in brief the major challenges that were mentioned, and I'm very happy that I will be also giving you what you said in terms of actually solutions. I was not expecting that actually the solutions are much, much more than the challenges, which is quite impressive. From the first word of our first keynote speaker, and solutions were already given. So the challenges in general, and I will not keep it in order, challenge and then solution. I will just give the bunch of challenges, and then I will focus more on the solutions, especially that one solution actually can be for more than one challenge, so there is not one-to-one match here. We all agree that it is a very complex business. Family business is really a complex business. Naturally, the complexity increases with the number of generations, and interestingly, Engineer Muhammad told us that even if I'm the only one, it is still very challenging. So let's agree that it is a very complex system. Governance structure. This has been a major challenge in different ways. Succession. Conflict of management. The transformation while keeping the freedom. And the sustainability of the family business. Will we be here tomorrow? 10 years, 20 years, ya Rabb al-Umr kullu. So the sustainability of the family business. And last but not least, the ecosystem with its problems, the legal system, and so on, which we did not offer much solutions about this unless Sanat Muhammad has an insight that he is willing to share. The solutions. And this is where I'm very proud and very happy that in this roundtable we didn't just give general macro cliche things. I feel we went into even details and simple pragmatic solutions. First of all, there is no one size fit all. Let's agree about this. However, there is a big commonality, and I will be focusing here on this commonality: resilience. I know that resilience is always a buzzword. We write academic papers on it. The name of the roundtable is resilience. But this time, from the first keynote speaker, we were given actually how to achieve such resilience. So, quoting, of course, Mr. Amr, not myself, a long-term vision, and embed in this long-term vision sustainability and social impact. Do not look at social impact and sustainability as sources of cost. On the contrary, even if it will be on the short term, on the long term, it is definitely a major source of competitive advantage and a major source of profitability. Second, agility. I know it's another buzzword. However, in this session, we were even able to reach cultural agility. So be flexible, adaptable, balance between centralization versus decentralization, and naturally separate ownership from management and leadership, which can be another forum on its own, management versus leadership, but separate. The new generation. This is the most interesting part to me, and having here with us Mustafa as a representative of the youngest of us all, we were given also practical, pragmatic things to do with this new generation. We expect them to have their own input, but I loved the idea that we should empower them, however, not direct them. We are providing them with the tools, but they should realize what they want to do and their own needs, and they should go after this. And it has to be also, our role is to let them reach their potential. I love the idea of it's their own potential, and it has been mentioned over and over in various industries and various generations. So we should equip them, empower them, but we should not force them. And they are expected to get in with something new. So one of the best practices that I heard today is let them work 3-5 years before joining the family business, and then they're free to join or not. Also, the older generation, and I know that none of you use the older generation, I'm using it, it's that you use the current generation. The current generation should really be open to the innovation and development that the young generation will come with on board. They should not be rigid, and they should have such flexibility that those that are willing to join, they should have their own footsteps and their own way. And again, as Mr. Am said, this is the DNA of the human beings, the dynamic. You cannot expect to run tomorrow's business neither with the culture of today. What about the culture of, mashallah, there are here families that has been here for 100 years. So we have to be open for such innovation and evolution. Another major point is putting a system with all of its details, processes, procedure, and digitalize. You have to have both, and you need to have a purpose. Companies should be purpose-driven, and you have to have dedication to purpose. Family culture. We mentioned that one of the reasons that family business is complex, that you have the family and you have the business. And I always tell my students, you have the complexity of the business, which is complex on its own, and the family complexity, which is very, very complex on its own, and then the combination of both, which Senator Mohammed said, the alignment between the two. This is a challenge on its own that we have to find a way to do it. But the family culture is not just limited to the family members. As Dr. Tolba was saying, a successful family business, and he gave us the example of an organization with hundreds, if not thousands, should have this family culture and should foster it among its members. And it's all about adaptability and sustainability, while avoiding, of course, the rigidity. We need to find a way for the constitution, family constitution. There was so many ideas, again, not all one fit all. Dr. Tolba mentioned the family board. Some of you said you have to have voting and all sorts of things, but it has to be there. And I love the idea that you mentioned that whenever this person leaves, it should be, the show must go on. So you have to have a full-fledged system with delegation. Another member mentioned the delegation, in order that the continuity and the sustainability of the family business can be achieved. Last but not least, passion. I've been hearing it over and over, and since the first time I heard it and I fell in love with the word, everything has to be done with passion, passion to the business, passion to the ecosystem of it all, and we should keep the entrepreneurial mindset flourishing by empowering the passion rather than enforcing anything at all. I hope I made it short, and thank you all.
Thank you. Thank you all. Thank you.
Well, again, thank you very much for making the time, and more importantly, for your insightful comments and remarks. And this is not a one-time thing. So we'll be reaching out to you, rest for sure. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you all.
Hi everyone, can you please come on the stage for a group picture? Everyone, can you please come on the stage for a group picture?